Now, a team that somehow beat the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not sure how they did that.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Rams.
Football.
Yeah. How did they do that? How did Matthew Stafford beat that great football team? But he's on your love list. So we jump into the quarterback love-hate.
272 yards and 3 touchdowns in that victory against the Atlanta Falcons in week number 2. And now he gets Arizona. The Cardinals are a disaster. Right? The Cardinals are the Jay Croucher of football teams, if you want, right? They've allowed 604 passing yards, 7 touchdowns through 2 weeks,
I don't like that.
Right, well, I mean, dude.
The Marquise Brown of the fantasy football happy
I think
hour.
you're more like you're the Greg Dortch. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that if you think about how the Rams are moving the ball so far this year, basically 80% of their yards so far this year have come via the pass. It's the third highest rate in the NFL. Last year, 2 games against Arizona, Matthew Stafford averaged 21 fantasy points a game here. The over-under in this one, per our friends at BetMGM, 48.5, one of the highest on the slate. We expect a lot of fireworks, 2 good offenses, and the Cardinals are a bad defense. Give me Matthew Stafford as a top 7 play this week.
I like it just because they're likely going to be leading. They're only 3.5-point favorites. I think that's going to get bigger despite being on the road. And the thing is as well, with the Rams, they don't put the cue in the rack. They don't run the clock out in the second half. Their running back is Cooper Kupp because you can get 10 yards from Cooper Kupp whenever you want. They just keep throwing the ball. Extremely progressive, pass-happy offense. So like the look on Matthew Stafford there against maybe the worst cornerback room in the NFL in Arizona. Yeah. Now, Kirk Cousins is going to get a friendlier matchup. After what he did in primetime wasn't ideal against the Eagles, but the Lions defense, as much as we love the Lions offense, the defense is not great. No. Outside of what they did to your offensive line, particularly in that first half, why do you like Kirk Cousins?
Well, first off, the game's not in primetime. Let's start there. This is a 1 o'clock game. We're safe. We're safe. The other thing here is that, again, we expect it. It's now 52.5 is the line on this game. It's one of, if not the highest on the slate. Last year, in a run-heavier offense, Kirk Cousins averaged over 307 passing yards a game in 2 games against the Lions, and now more pass-happy. I think he bounces back in a big way here. Lions, to your point, even though they're good offensively, they've struggled offensively. They're allowing the 3rd most passing yards per game. I'm sorry, the 6th most passing yards per game, the 3rd most overall yards per game. You can throw on Detroit. You can move the ball in Detroit. We don't think the Vikings defense is pretty good. I think the Lions move the ball successfully here as well. You heard me talk up Amon-Ra St. Brown earlier in the show. I do think Goff is a viable, bye-week fill-in, or if you need a flex, not a flex play for a quarterback, but you know what I mean. Like he's a
flex equivalent type of quarterback.
If you need a streamer, that's the way.
I'd rather have Jared Goff than Tom Brady this week.
I have him ranked higher. I believe I think I have Brady higher, but I think that's fair. Anyway, my point is I have Goff as a streamer this week. I think he's viable. I think both guys move, but give me Kirk Cousins here as a top 8 fantasy quarterback as well. I also think Derek Carr. We talked about this Raiders game against the Titans. We just saw Josh Allen absolutely demolish the Titans, and now the Titans have traveled back on a short week. Carr's had over 250 passing yards and multiple passing touchdowns in both games so far this year. The Raiders are actually 2nd in the NFL in pass rate. It is a pass-happy team. Titans allow the 4th most passing yards per pass attempt. So I like Derek Carr as a viable top 10 quarterback this week. We saw Joe Burrow off the top of the show, right? So again, just sort of some others receiving votes. I mentioned Goff. I do think Joe Burrow can't be this bad. He's too good. He's got too many weapons around him. He does have 89 pass attempts through 2 weeks, right? And now he's playing the Jets. And you can, Jacoby Brissett was a competent NFL fantasy. And look, Jacoby Brissett looked good against the Jets here. I think Joe Burrow, I think this is a get-right game for the Bengals offense. I have Joe Burrow as a top 10 quarterback this week. And then finally, if you're truly desperate and you're skimming the bottom, let's go to another Joe.
Oh, boy.
And that's Joe Flacco.
Wacko for Flacco.
Yeah. Is he elite?
Yeah, if you go off his first 2 weeks, he looks out of his mind good. He's partying like it's 2012. I haven't seen this Joe Flacco since he won the Super Bowl.
He leads the NFL in passing attempts through 2 weeks. He's had over 300 passing yards in both games this year. Again, we expect the Bengals to be able to move the ball quite easily against the Jets. So what's he going to have to do? He's going to have to throw. And so far, he's been successful.
He's got weapons now.
He does.
Just feeding the great Garrett Wilson. Now, you love Joe Flacco. You don't love the MVP of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, I assume because of the matchup.
100%. Buccaneers have allowed the 2nd lowest quarterback rating through 2 weeks. They're top 3rd. They're top 3 in the NFL in yards per pass attempt and completion rate allowed. Fewest, right? they've given up 1 passing touchdowns to compared to 4 interceptions so far this year. And then you think about, what can you do? You want to run against them. Aaron Rodgers was brutal in week 1, and his good week was last week against Chicago, and yet even still, he still threw for under 250 yards. He was still QB 16 last week in a game in which they handily beat the Bears. This is one of the lowest over-unders in the slate. We expect a low-scoring game. We expect a slow-paced game. It's going to be a lot of Leonard Fournette on one side, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones on the other. You're going to see a lot of run in this game. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers outside my top 14 for the week because I just don't see him having a monster game. And I don't think he's going to need to against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, we think about the Bucs as this formidable rushing defense, but this year they've actually been a better pass defense. They've been the best in the league by DVOA. Now, this hurts me
because they're just not even throwing. Aaron Rodgers is bottom 10 in the NFL in terms of pass attempts per game, right? He's tied for 23rd in terms of pass attempts so far this year.
Yeah, it's jarring. He's 60-1 to lead the league in passing yards, and that's correct. Those are the right odds, but it's just he's Aaron Rodgers, he's the MVP, but the passing yards, he just doesn't accumulate the stats, particularly this year without Davante Adams.
Rodgers is great, and I think the stats are coming. I just don't think they're coming this week on the road at a good Tampa Bay defense.
Yep. All right, this hurts me. Another commander on the hate list to pair with Terry McLaurin. It's Carson Wentz.
Through 2 weeks, the Philadelphia Eagles defense was top 5 in the NFL in fewest yards per attempt, best passer rating against, completion rate against. They actually have more interceptions so far this year than touchdown passes allowed. And that's not good, that this ball hawking defense. Because you know what Carson Wentz likes to do? He likes to throw interceptions. He's thrown 3 in 2 weeks against the Lions and the Jags.
You don't even need the hawk element of the ball hawk. You just need to be a ball defense, and you get the
They just
picks.
have to hold their hands up, and chances are Carson Wentz is throwing
Take
it to
the
him.
field.
Right. If he's thrown 3 picks combined against the Jaguars and Lions, what's he going to do against this Eagles defense, which is one of the legit best defenses in the NFL? Wentz has been good. I get it for the last 2 weeks, and I expect the Eagles to score at will. So you're thinking, well, maybe it's their junk time. Yeah, maybe, but I also think there's a mental thing with the Eagles and the history between him and Wentz. The thing about Wentz also is the inconsistency, not just in game, but game to game. The last time Carson Wentz scored 20 or more fantasy points in 3 consecutive games, and he scored over 20 the last 2, was weeks 4 through 6 of 2018.
Yeah.
Been a long time since he's had back-to-back 20-plus games. I think the pumpkin turns into I think Cinderella turns into a pumpkin this week, fantasy-wise. Wentz outside my top 12 for the week.
Yep.
As much as I would love to, he's been fine this year, and the loss to the Lions is not on Carson Wentz. No. That's on the defense. That's on Jack Del Rio. Make no mistake. But I'm just saying, fantasy-wise, I gotta own it. I think the Eagles kill the Commanders in this one.
Yep, I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC right now, narrowly edging out the Atlanta Falcons.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.